Yes.
Change happens because you take care of you and the people around you, your family, your direct connections. Take care of you first, clean your room, take care of your house, take care of your car, your food, your health, your physical fitness, your mental health. You will change the frequency and energy level that you exist in, which will change your group, which will change the world. Hype or legit? Game-changing or garbage?
This is What's Hot and What's Not, where we put today's biggest self-help trends under the microscope.
All right, let's break this one down. All right, welcome back to another Hot or Not.
Hot or not, what's on the docket?
Womp, womp, womp. It's therapy.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, hot or not? I'm assuming this is talk therapy.
It's just therapy in general. I think it's hot. I mean, I don't think that every therapist out there is awesome, but I think in general, leveraging therapy as a tool, it's hot. It's very helpful.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's extremely beneficial to hear somebody else's opinion on what's going on in your life. It's also beneficial to have somebody work on your body for you.
Yeah.
A therapist.
Oh, yeah.
For the human system.
Bodywork therapy.
Yeah, bodywork therapy for sure.
I will say, I do have a strong opinion that if you have been in therapy for years and let's say you don't have like big T trauma that you're working through, like PTSD, like something like that, and you have had a therapist for years to help you manage your day-to-day, something's not working. And this is a former colleague of mine at a previous company had been seeing a therapist for a number of years and still riddled with anxiety, overwhelm, you name it. It was like she couldn't function and she had to go talk to her therapist about everything. And it's like, okay, at some point you got to realize that therapist is not empowering you. They're enabling you and they're trying to keep you as a customer.
Well, if it's not challenging you, it's not growing you. So, and if you're not growing, you're dying. So I think therapy is fantastic under the premise that it helps you grow and challenges you. So yeah, I think therapy's hot. I'm Chris.
And I'm Kiley.
Welcome to the 1%, where small shifts create big wins.
We're redefining resilience for high performers, 1% at a time, so you can keep advancing, no matter what. Welcome back.
What am I welcome back to?
The 1%.
Yes, I love this place. It's my favorite.
You're here often enough.
I am. I feel like I live here.
You kind of do.
I do. It's my first home.
Yes.
So, all right. So what are we talking about today?
I don't know. You tell me.
Well, I just wanted to see if you did your homework or read your emails.
No.
I'm just kidding. But we're going to talk about the problem with mental health today. I think that should get like some kind of intro music behind it or something.
It is quite a problem.
Yeah. You remember G.I. Joe when you were a kid? Did you ever watch that show?
No.
The Real
That was
American
a boy show.
The Real American Hero. They always did like after school specials at the end of them. There were like some health or mental health related issue that the G.I. Joe was helping these teens with. It was always really funny. Every time I hear the word mental health, I think of the G.I. Joe after school specials.
No, I don't think I watched that.
All right. So how do you want to break into this?
You're in charge.
What do you think of when you think of mental health?
Oh, man. I mean, it used to be a very taboo topic, and now I feel like it's all people talk about when it comes to health. I think the biggest thing that comes to mind when I think about mental health is the fact that, you know, we always say the brain and the body are not mutually exclusive. And so your mental health is fueled by your physical health. And when you think about physical health, you think about your health in terms of physical fitness. So I don't know why we don't think of mental health in the same capacity and think of it as mental fitness.
Well, I can tell you my opinion of why that doesn't land there is because fitness requires personal responsibility.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, meaning this big, crazy organ that lives between our ears that we don't really know a ton about, that affects everything that we do, we'd rather assume we have no control over it and it just kind of happens, and therefore we're stuck with what we have, and we become our mental health issue. As opposed to, all right, this is something that's presented to me like a weak pair of legs that I can just go to the gym and start squatting and moving around and make them perform better through the personal responsibility of fitness training.
Yeah, strengthening.
And strength training. But I don't think people want that. I think people want to say this is a hard, cumbersome process, and therefore it's out of my control.
I think the other thing that is a crutch is, it's genetics.
Yeah, I hear that all the time with fitness. I don't have big chest because of my genetics.
Or people will say alcoholism runs in my family. The information I know about our brains and how our behaviors develop over time, you're not genetically doomed. If somebody in your family has a condition,
They might have a genetic predisposition towards.
Sure.
But most of that is lifestyle.
Yeah, 100%. But if you grow up with that lifestyle being normal, yes, chances are far greater that you probably soaked up some of those habits.
Mm-hmm.
It's learned behavior. It's neuron mirroring.
Yeah, I had a conversation with a client not too long ago, him and his wife, and his wife said, it's awful interesting to watch how many people come into her practice saying, well, I have the genetic predisposition or genetic makeup that creates the outcome of being overweight. And her husband goes, well, that's true. If you look at it up front, larger people have larger children. And I said, well, look at the way you were raised. You were raised, both of them, with very active parents doing a lot of things, marathons, triathlons, physically active, going hiking on the weekends, just doing things. There's a lot of people that were raised doing a lot of nothing. So it's not that there's a genetic predisposition to be overweight. There's a pattern correlation of the parents' patterns to the children's patterns.
Yep.
So one of my favorite Instagram reels is this girl talking in her car, and she's putting this powder stuff in her water, and she goes, I just realized today I do fat people shit. And she just stares at the camera, and I started cracking up, and I'm like, well, I have to listen to this. And she said, I don't count calories. I don't assume things are bad for me. I just eat it because it tastes good. And the more I started counting, the more I'm like, I'm putting 3 of these sugary drink mixes in 32 ounces, and 1 packet belongs in a gallon. And I'm drinking 3 times the amount and a quarter of the amount of water, wondering why I'm overweight. She goes, I just do fat people shit. And I'm like, I would never say that to somebody, but like, she's realizing that her patterns equal her outcome,
right?
Not a genetic predisposition.
Well, and the other thing we have to realize is that your patterns are not, they don't instantly create the outcome you're in right now.
No.
The outcome you're in is an aggregate of habits compounded over years. I remember when I walked into a CrossFit gym for the first time, I don't know, 10 years ago at this point, and the gym owner was like, what's your goal? And I said, well, I want to lose, I don't know what I said. Let's call it 50 pounds. I was the heaviest I'd ever been in my whole life. And I said, I want to lose, 50 pounds. And he said, well, when do you want to lose it by? And I said, I don't know, like, is 3 months realistic? And he goes, well, how long did it take you to get to this weight? And I just stopped and I started, doing some math in my head and was like, oh shit, like 15 years. Like my bad habits, like I started gaining weight in college when I started drinking. So my bad habits were 15 years long of bad habits that I'm now expected to reverse in 3 months, 6 months. I don't think so.
Well, there's just no correlation in our normal life to a success like that. But there also is no correlation to the detriment of the decisions we make. We just don't live in the world of direct inject outcomes. We live in the world of delayed gratification and delayed outcomes.
But we have so much convenience that the mental expectation that we have is that things happen instantly because most everything that we want is accessible instantly. I mean, think about AI and information and, even work product, right? You ask me to build a worksheet, I can now do it in 30 seconds with ChatGPT.
Yeah. And refine it. And all time in is probably 10 minutes.
Yeah.
10 minutes to conception and out the door.
Yeah. So we are being conditioned that things should happen instantaneously because we're such an advanced society, but the reality is that we have a brain that still operates like we're cavemen and we're living in this modern world, and we are now starting to work ourselves to a place where we're accessing more of our brain because we have the ability to rely on all of this technology and convenience. We don't need to be as physically active. I mean, you and I were talking about this the other day, that even reading a newspaper now, we're reading a newspaper on our phone, which just requires us to flick a thumb and scroll. Whereas you used to read a newspaper and you'd move your arms to turn pages, right? Like little things like that. We used to wash dishes. Well, now we stick everything in a dishwasher.
Yep.
Also, not very labor intensive. You might
Same
have to
thing with washing clothes.
Yeah, exactly. It used to be like you have to go hang stuff up on a line, right? And I just think that we have gotten so used to convenience, and anything that's hard now causes an emotional reaction. And if you don't know how to properly handle your emotions, you can very easily spiral into anxiety or depression or OCD or ADHD.
So that is where we correlate what we're talking about. So I don't like to always move everything over to the health world without giving a reason why. So I have created my entire career behind the human system. And you have created your entire career behind the human system. We just started at different points. You started with the brain, I started with the body. And since we've correlated, which took us no time to do, that they're not mutually exclusive, we can then ask the question, what is the comparison of obesity and that epidemic and mental health trends?
Yeah.
So this is an absolutely fascinating graph. I can link this in the show notes if we need to. I think we probably should. But there's a comparison of obesity and mental health trends in the U.S. from 2000 to 2024. There is a direct mirror of mental health issues and rise of obesity in America.
So is that a correlation or a causation?
That the only way you could make a argument that it's not a causation is if they were mutually exclusive. So that would be I grow apples in a tree in Oregon and oranges in a forest in Dubai. Like those, you can't compare the two. Yes, they're both fruits, but like totally different areas, totally different things, totally different variables.
Right. Different soil.
That don't correlate to each other.
Yeah.
Too many variables separated.
Your body literally.
We're talking about a human.
Yeah, your brain is housed in your body.
Yeah,
so
it's an
they're
organ
connected.
inside of the system that obesity affects. So Obesity has grown steadily from 30% in 2000 to over 41% in 2024. Mental illness prevalence has gone from 17.5% in 2000 to above 25%.
Dang.
So we're talking about 25% of America, 335 million Americans, 25% of them now are dealing with or have dealt with a mental illness issue.
Well, and these are just stats for the people who have gone to doctors and gotten help.
It is. And we're not talking about debilitating issues. We're talking about something that has to deal with the brain that we don't understand that can be correlated as. The argument also can be made that we now know what it looks like, so we can make a better assessment. The cool thing about these statistics is they go back and backdate them. Mm-hmm. They say, now that we know what autism looks like, we can kind of backdate based on the things that doctors were dealing with and say that was probably autism. So we can make an assumption that that's what they were dealing with in the past. Same thing with like mental retardation and stuff like that. We just didn't know what it was, so we didn't have a label. Now that we do, we can label what it was back in the day and give a better representation of the numbers over time. Mm-hmm. So just to avoid that argument right at the beginning, because that would be what I would say. They gave us 10 things that made a comparison. So impact on lifespan, both obesity and mental health have a drastic impact on lifespan.
Yeah.
Obesity reduces life expectancy by 5 to 20 years if we're having a BMI greater than or equal to 40%, which is a massive one, which is the number that they use for morbid obesity, which is over 41% of America. Severe mental illness shortens lifespans by 10 to 20 years, but it also is a comorbidity add-on to other diseases. So it's actually increases the detriment of the issue. Quality of life. Obesity increases fatigue, joint pain, and has a bunch of social stigma. Mental health affects emotional well-being, social functioning, energy levels, and motivation, leading to withdrawal and self-isolation, which increases obesity. So they're hand in hand.
Yeah.
So a couple of these other ones I won't go deep into, but frequency of doctor's visits, they both increase. Medication usage, they both increase. Comorbid health conditions, suicide risk, healthcare costs, social stigma. The preventability is an interesting one that they put on this. Obesity, the preventability is largely preventable through nutrition, physical activity, and behavioral changes.
So it's 100% in your control.
It is. Mental health, some forms preventable or manageable with early intervention and lifestyle support, but may have genetic or biomechanical roots. That's the difference between the two. So there is not a genetic or biomechanical root to obesity. There is not. So you can have preconceived things, but there's no genetic root to it.
I mean, there's some conditions where you might be the exception, and it might be something that you can't control.
But even then, lifestyle and nutritional physical activity changes can generally get around that. Mm-hmm. And then public awareness and policy response, they're both considered what's the Googler would call a health crisis. Mm-hmm. So now what's really interesting is when we dig really deep into this, I said, what can we utilize through ChatGPT? I asked this question. What can we utilize from this information above about the state of the world we are living in today? So this is where it got hella interesting. Number one, we are in a dual epidemic of chronic conditions.
Yeah.
We are in a dual epidemic of chronic conditions. Obesity and mental illness are no longer isolated health issues. They are foundational societal patterns.
Yeah.
Foundational societal patterns. We have decided, one, that mental health is a thing that, one, you can just acquire or have or be part of a group, a marginalized group if you have, so you can just have it. I can't tell you how many times I've seen kids with autism on social media somehow find out how to become autistic. Oh, I just realized I was autistic. Okay, well, there's like a slew of people that have a really bad issue with this that is very hard for them to work with and is extremely detrimental to the family and the lifestyle of the individual and everybody associated with it, to play the game of, I have this horrible problem. Ha ha ha. How can I get more views on social media because I have it, is really
Yeah.
fucked up.
Well, and I think with the social media culture, everything is trendy, right? Like social media is great because it's a social place. It's a place for you to connect with other people who are like you. But the problem is, I mean, there was a point in time where I was on TikTok and I started consuming posts about OCD, and I was convinced for a moment that I probably had OCD.
So here's an interesting one. Both are driven by similar root causes. Both obesity and mental health issues. Poor diet, sedentary lifestyles, disconnection, chronic stress, and overstimulation, especially digital. Both are driven by similar root causes. The key takeaway from the concept that we are in a dual epidemic of chronic conditions is that interventions must address systems, not symptoms.
Yeah.
Food, systems, built environments, education, and digital use norms. The system we live in is creating these outcomes. We live in a world that the healthcare system, the large conglomerate things are taking care of outcomes of problems, symptoms of, not the cause.
Yeah. And if you think about it, the healthcare system wants you sick because then you're a great client. You're a great customer. You're a repeat customer.
Yeah.
They love the chronic illness game.
Well, the chronic illness game is very lucrative.
Yeah. It's like you're signing up for a lifelong package with them.
So the second out of the 10 that this gave me, we won't necessarily have to go into all 10, but first couple I thought were really cool. The second one is lifestyle is now the most powerful determinant of health.
Yeah.
Both crises are strongly linked to modifiable behaviors, meaning both outcomes or both issues, both crises that we're living in are directly correlated to your personal responsibility.
Yeah.
You take care of yourself, you don't have these problems. You eat good food, you don't have these problems. You work out, you make sure you're around healthy people that drive you and motivate you and keep you doing healthy things. These issues no longer become a crisis. There's something we have to deal with, which is okay. At no point in time do we live in a life that says you shouldn't have to do hard things. The issue is we've become so ingrained with the ease of everything. You can sit at home in your underwear, make money online, get food delivered to your house, and and clothes and sheets and a maid come in and do all these things, and you never have to leave your house.
Yeah.
The ease of access has removed almost all barriers and all friction. So if we have no friction at home ever, then we're presented with anything, all of a sudden it's super stressful, very hard, and I can't handle it. Maybe I have a mental health issue. Maybe I am autistic. Maybe I do have OCD. Maybe I have all these other things. Well, no, maybe you just have a very low level of mental fitness. You just can't handle any stress because you've removed it all.
Yeah. And I mean, we've said this before. We have an ancient brain and we're living in a modern world. So the problem with this is anytime we have a little bit of stress, our brain doesn't know the difference between burnt popcorn and a house fire.
Yeah.
So our brain registers a smell of smoke as a fire. And it's going to say, hey, run for your life. The house is on fire. Meanwhile, it's burnt popcorn, right? And nothing's on fire. You just need to throw the bag away.
Yeah.
But your body doesn't know the difference. Your brain doesn't know the difference until you override that talk track. But the problem is that requires conscious intervention. So you have to be cognizant when your body's freaking out, and you have to tell it, because you are not, you can't be the thinker of your thoughts. You have to be the observer of your thoughts and catch them and realize like, hey, I'm freaking out over this and this is not that deep.
Yeah, you have to reframe it,
And
which is only possible if you have a system that has the capability of reframing.
yeah.
You have to train your brain and your emotions and your body to not react at such a high level.
And the problem is that if you don't do this, and let's say every time you get an email from your boss, you're completely panicked and you don't remind yourself, hey, this is just an email. Like none of this is personal.
Yeah.
But when I was younger in my career and I had bosses who would email me all the time, why did you do this? Why is this not done? What's going on here? I would get so on edge every time I saw their name pop up in my inbox, and it could have been, hey, congrats, you got promoted, right? But I still had the same response because that's how I trained my brain to respond. So it required conscious undoing and reminding myself, hey, the house is not on fire. This is just burnt popcorn at the worst.
Yeah. Nutritional patterns, movement, sleep, and emotional regulation are central to both preventing and managing obesity and mental health. Mm-hmm. That is very powerful.
All of those are, I mean, what did you rattle off? I'm pretty sure all of those are free.
Yeah, they are.
And
nutritional patterns, movement, sleep, and emotional regulation.
You can walk. You doesn't cost anything to sleep.
Well, we want
nutrition. I mean, at this point, healthy food costs just as much as unhealthy food. There was a point in time where produce used to be more expensive than, box of cereal. But now, I mean, I'm pretty sure groceries are all expensive nowadays. It doesn't matter if it's healthy or not. You're just using that as an excuse at this point that you want to get the junk food.
Yeah. So we'll buzz through a couple of these. This one's a no-brainer. The healthcare system is reactive, not proactive. The healthcare system is built to be reactive because if you break your femur in a car wreck, you got to go somewhere to get that done, taken care of. Mm-hmm. That's what it's built for. It's trying to be the reactive care source for things that only can be dealt with proactively.
Yep.
Suicide and preventable disease rates continue to climb despite high healthcare spending. We are spending more money in healthcare than we have ever in the history of the fucking planet, and have the highest obesity, suicide, and preventable disease rate.
Yeah.
So there is not a direct correlation to healthcare spending and reduction of issues.
Yep.
Medication usage and rising doctor visits show we're treating downstream symptoms rather than upstream causes.
Yeah. And the root cause is lifestyle, right? Because it's not any one thing that's causing it. It's an aggregate of all of the little things you're doing or not doing to take care of your mental and physical fitness. That mental and physical fitness is what determines mental and physical health.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't train the body and not get a healthier mind from it.
Right.
You can't train the mind and leave the body alone. You have to train them both. One of the things on here is youth are the canary in the coal mine. Both mental health and obesity issues are surging most among children and adolescents. Reason being is screen time, loneliness, processed food consumption, and academic pressure all contribute to the reason that children are having the issue, or they're the main contributors to these scenarios.
Well, and if you think about it, all the people who are parents now were raised on junk food. Like, we were raised on crap food.
So we used to use a phrase in fitness when I first started, was the detox phase. Everybody goes through a detox phase. Get rid of the bullshit you're eating and get back into a healthy phase or a healthy lifestyle. Digital detox is a huge thing now for children.
Yeah.
Get away from the screen. Start using your body again. I can't tell you how many kids I've worked with or see that I can't put one foot in front of the other really well, but man, they can beat the shit out of something online.
Yeah.
They're super fast with their computer, but as far as like their system that they're living in, I mean, some of these kids have a body of a 70-year-old in their teens. The next one is social disconnection is fueling both crises. A social stigma for mental health issues, from my standpoint, especially in men, because we're not really allowed to have emotions, so we can't really talk about it. You can't be sad as a guy. You can technically be angry and apathetic, and then you got to figure it out on your own. So the social stigma behind asking for help for both men and women is pretty high. And it kind of exacerbates both the issues, because what are you going to do with that? If you feel sad, generally you eat something that makes you feel a little better. You don't go work out and do something else hard.
No, or you grab a bottle of wine or beer and drink your sorrows.
And we're really isolated and distracted in this age of quote unquote connection. I spend most of my day now on Zoom or Teams calls. I'm around or talking to people most of the day, but I'm pretty lonely sometimes by the end of the day because I haven't physically been around anybody, which is pretty rare because I have a lot of clients that are one-on-one in person. Mm-hmm. But there are some days that it's all digital. Mm-hmm. And if it's all digital, it's like I might be in front of people interacting with another human, but I'm not physically around anybody. Mm-hmm. So when that end button gets pressed or I stop the meeting, I'm instantly alone. And it's like, that's an interesting thing they have to go through.
And we actually get oxytocin from physical touch. So being around people, even if it's just giving a handshake or giving somebody a side hug, right, that you're meeting up with for a business meeting, those little moments give you oxytocin, and you don't realize the impact it's having on your system until it's not there. And we think we're getting the same kind of social validation or social interaction from social media, but it is not. It's not real relationships. You're following people that, I mean, for most people, you're following people that you don't even know in real life. And if you are following people that you actually do know, it's probably not like, oh my gosh, I love that person. Let me reach out to them and call them on the phone and have a conversation about the trip that they just posted pictures about. We're not using social media as a social tool to build connection. We're using it to get social validation and the likes and the, if you are trying to go viral, if you're an influencer, digital creator, whatever, we're now using it as a selling tool and whatever else, a dating app or something, but it's transactional and it's not real connection. So where we think we may be getting social validation or social connection, it's really not. It's fake.
Well, and it just exacerbates the problem because you just give a filtered view of yourself. Mm-hmm. You can change your everything on social media. And I mean, it's wild. One of the key takeaways for social disconnection is intentional community building, coaching relationships, and peer accountability are vital levers for change. Notice each one of these isn't finding a friend group that validates your current reality. None of it is echo chambers. Yeah. This is coaching relationships, peer accountability. Hey man, I want to become better. I have a goal or a vision for my life. Can you help me get there? A real friend, a true friend will do two things. Tell you when you fuck up and you're not being your best version of yourself and cheer you on when you do. When you've created something better, when you moved up a level, they'll help you. They'll guide you or at a minimum, cheer you on. Mm-hmm. So the most effective solutions are integrated and human. Both crises are multifactorial, which they are. They require physical and psychological and social approaches. No pill, diet, or app alone solves this.
What?
This is given to you by an app. No pill, diet, or app alone will solve this.
I'm shocked.
Models that blend personal responsibility, mindset work, movement, therapy, nutrition, and coaching are urgently needed.
Shameless plug for Odyssey Resilience.
This is a shameless plug because it literally says Odyssey Resilience is uniquely positioned for this. So,
Shut up.
yeah, it said it twice in there. But that's the whole reason we built this model.
Yeah,
not to
it
toot
really
our own
is.
horns, but like because the system is not mutually exclusive, the brain and the body, you have to train them all. Personal responsibility, mindset work, movement, therapy, nutrition, and coaching.
Yeah.
We're literally trying to become your best friend. Because your best friend would motivate you.
It's
the life
personal,
changing.
Yeah, it's personal development. And I think, you and I have both been on the personal development journey for a lot of years, a lot. And you're never too old to start. You're never too far behind. I've had older people, boomers, might say, "Oh, I'm already too old to learn new things." No, you're not. Our brains have neuroplasticity, so anyone can change factors about their lives that they don't necessarily love. We're all in control, but the problem is that most of us are moving through life reacting to what comes to us instead of creating what we want. And so, our mission at Odyssey, the reason why we built this business was to help people create the life that they want and achieve things that they never even thought possible. Well, if you are dealing with mental or physical health issues, you're not going to be able to do that. That's going to be a roadblock in your way that you have to remove. So getting the resources and the tools that you need are step number one, right? And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to invest in these things for forever. A lot of times a couple therapy sessions can get you out of a funk real fast. I remember I was in therapy in college and, this was after I had graduated and I was going through breakup and normal life shit, but it felt very overwhelming. And I remember I went to a few sessions with the therapist and I came in for my last session and I was like, "Hey, I'm moving to Indianapolis." And she's like, "That seems kind of sudden. Are you sure? Like, do you want to talk through this?" I was like, "No, I've decided. Like, I'm done with this city. I'm ready to move on. I'm ready for new opportunities. I'm getting lots of interviews." It was all a very rational plan, but I was ready to move forward. Yep. And so sometimes you just need a little extra help along the way to get yourself unstuck or mobilized to moving in a forward direction. And it's, I think the biggest thing is just focus on the progress that you're making instead of where you're failing. Because if you focus on where you're failing and keep telling yourself, "Oh, well, I have this knee injury, I can't work out, and I don't even know how to cook," and you can put up all the roadblocks you want, but you're still going to remain in the same place.
So the seventh one on here is prevention is the only sustainable strategy.
Yeah.
So to piggyback off what you're saying, the cost to individuals and healthcare systems will overwhelm the current infrastructure. Mm-hmm. We don't have enough money to medicate all the problems because the problems are an outcome of a pattern that we're not even talking about.
Right.
But prevention works. Mm-hmm. Movement, real food, sleep, connection, and coaching creates lasting change. Coaching isn't like a shameless plug for us. Mm-hmm. I have a fucking coach when I compete because no matter how much time I have underneath my belt, I need somebody that is non-emotional, a third party to say, "This is where I want to go, leverage your knowledge, leverage my knowledge and my ability, and tell me what to do because I'm too emotionally connected or I can't see the forest through the trees. I'm in this point in time and I need to get somewhere better. Help me." And that's okay. In fact, that's the basis behind businesses. Why do you hire a CEO with a ton of time? To coach your fucking business to become the best business possible. Mm-hmm. You don't hire people and hope. You hire people that know and leverage them.
Yep.
It's the only sustainable strategy because it requires the individual that is getting coached to become better, to find that power in themselves to make real change, not to be consulted, meaning somebody shows up, tells you what to do, you follow the process, and you go home. It's, all right, man, let's work through this together. Let me coach you on finding that power in yourself. Therefore, the change actually lasts when I leave. Number 8 on here is cultural awareness is growing. Use the momentum. I couldn't agree with that more. People are begging for questions or begging for answers to these questions. Why am I still sick?
Yeah.
Why are there ads on TV with 900 different outcomes and problems from these pills, and I'm still taking them? Like I'm tired of feeling overweight. I'm tired of not looking like I want to. I want to be happy, healthy, and okay with life. These pills aren't hacking it. And it's taken an entire generation or two for us to start saying, maybe these pills aren't it.
Yeah.
The future belongs to integrators and educators, 100%. How do we actually do something with what we got going on? And the last one here is the crisis is the catalyst. We had to get here, which is like in every situation.
Well, it's unarguable at this point.
Because you have to get to a point to where it is unarguable. You can't say that processed food isn't bad for you and then look at what's going on around you.
And you also can't say that 41% of Americans are just unlucky in the genetic lottery.
No, it's not a thing anymore.
No.
Now, when in the 70s, when less than 10% of Americans were considered obese, and at that point in time it was less than 30% body fat or BMI, you could probably with 70% of America being under the obesity realm, you could say that you had a bad genetic makeup, and I could see how that argument could have some validity. Yeah. Over 41%, that's almost half, man. I think it's actually higher than that.
Those are terrible habits as a society, and we need to be aware and take responsibility and make the positive changes.
So I use the comment all the time. I used it this morning with 2 of my clients. Fruity Pebbles only exists because we keep buying Fruity Pebbles. If you don't want it, holding up a sign and screaming and yelling at everybody else to make a change for you, take it away from me because it's bad, isn't the way change happens. Yes. Change happens because you take care of you and the people around you, your family, your direct connections. Take care of you first, clean your room, take care of your house, take care of your car, your food, your health, your physical fitness, your mental health. You will change the frequency and energy level that you exist in, which will change your group, which will change the world. That's the only avenue. You have to look inward. Inward is the problem. Also the solution.
That's pretty powerful.
Big results come from small, intentional actions.
And that's why we're taking on the 1% challenge, a simple, actionable step to get just a little bit better every day.
No excuses, just progress. Let's do it. All right, now for the 1% challenge.
Work on your mental fitness.
Yeah, so the 1% challenge is journal for a week to help you develop introspective reflection. That sounds really complicated, but here's the deal. How the hell do you know what's going on inside of a system if you don't write down what's going on inside of a system? You're just acting every day. You'll never remember everything you ate for 7 days. That's why you keep a food journal. Then you can look back and go, oh, wow, turns out I had 37 Oreos this week. Maybe I should fix that. But 4 at a time, it just kind of flies under the radar.
Yeah.
So same thing with the way we act and the way we handle or have emotions. Write them down. Give yourself a framework of what goes on each day. And then you can go back and go, oh, okay, cool. This all week, this is actually what was going on in my brain. I don't remember Monday because Tuesday was awesome. I don't remember Wednesday because Thursday sucked. And then I don't remember Friday because all I wanted to do was go out and party. And on Sunday, you have the Sunday scaries, and you can look back and go, oh, I created these. Awesome.
I think if you want a pro tip, whatever you are trying to work on right now in life or goals or personal development things, ask ChatGPT for some prompts.
Yeah, for journaling especially.
It's really helpful. I've done it lots of times, and it always cranks out some great questions for me to think through. So it's the easiest way for you to start.
We also sell a journal prompt setup on our website.
What's a journal prompt setup?
That's just a framework for your journaling.
Oh, okay.
Yep. You can check that out at www.odysseyresilience.org/shop.
Perfect.
That's a wrap for today's episode of The 1%. If you're ready to take your resilience to the next level,
Head to odysseyresilience.org to dive deeper into our work, access free resources, and learn how we help high performers redefine resilience.
thanks for listening. Now go get 1% better.